Year 2411, the Galadrax Ultimatum. The message came through on a broad-spectrum pulse, encoded with arrogance. It wasn't addressed to a nation, not to a government, not even to the United Terran Coalition's Security Assembly. It was sent to Earth itself, and it read, "Your planetary presence is inefficient. Your refusal to integrate is obstructive. We are your future. Integration is no longer optional. No fanfare. No declaration of war. No diplomacy." The Galadrax Imperium, rulers of 119 star systems, had grown tired of Earth's refusal to kneel. So they chose to make an example. And they started with Europa Station. 2:04 Greenwich Mean Time, the erasure of Europa. It wasn't a warhead. It wasn't plasma. It was worse. A singularity pin, compressed gravity tech, hit Europa Station from 5,000 light-seconds out. No warning. No beam. No heat signature. One moment, life. Researchers. Engineers. Civilians. Children watching Jupiter rotate. Next moment, a silent hole in space where Europa Station had been. Earth's long-range sensors picked it up in 0.14 seconds. The station was gone. Not destroyed. Deleted. 2:05 Greenwich Mean Time, Earth still didn't respond. The Terran Security Assembly sat in silence as the visuals came through. Juno Tethers, lead commander of orbital defense, tapped the data stream once. Twice. Verified. A dead black space where families used to breathe. Her voice didn't rise. Didn't shake. She turned to the room and said, "Activate Protocol Eclipse." Protocol Eclipse wasn't a war response. It was a burial ritual for empires. Created in the darkest hour of the Earth-Taldrathi War a century earlier. Never used. Until now. It was never meant for a skirmish. Protocol Eclipse existed for one reason. When diplomacy fails. When the enemy forgets we are predators. When they touch what cannot be replaced. It was Earth's final option. 2:07 Greenwich Mean Time, the timer begins. Eclipse launched from 6 points around the Sol system. They weren't missiles. They were gravitic waveform sequencers, paired with quantum coherence lances. Their trajectory wasn't aimed at any Galadrax world. It was aimed through them. Because Earth didn't want to win a war. Earth wanted to erase the reason for war existing. 2:08 Greenwich Mean Time, Galadrax Fleet High Command. High Lord Vrailnex, seated on the throne of expansion aboard the Blood Comet, watched the report come in. Europa Station's annihilation was complete. There were no Terran defense fleets en route. No retaliation strikes. Not even a transmission. He smiled. Cowards. We struck and they cower. His advisor, a thin-skinned, four-eyed tactician named Peln, checked incoming telemetry. His claws twitched. My lord. Earth's response is, it's not a fleet. Then what is it? Peln's voice trembled. It's math. 2:09 Greenwich Mean Time. Lights begin to vanish. The planet Varnax, 3 was the first. One moment, its cities hummed beneath twin suns. The next, its sun dimmed. Not exploded. Dim. Its light waves lost coherence. Its gravity well twisted. Every quantum-entangled structure, banks, shields, AI cores, dephased and dropped dead. On a galactic scale, Varnax, 3 simply, slipped away. A bright line on every star chart, suddenly a gap. Like a deleted word. 2:10 Greenwich Mean Time, Galadrax begins to scream. Thousands of reports flooded into the High Command's comms net. Varnax down. Kel'Rijan's report digital fog, entire grid collapsing. Communications are turning into feedback loops. Systems breaking down. Memory holes, actual memory is missing. The scream of panic hadn't reached Vrailnex yet, but it reached Peln. He stood frozen, staring at the quantum decryption. He understood. They're rewriting cause and effect, he whispered. They're deleting us from having ever existed. 2:11 Greenwich Mean Time, still no message from Earth. The Terran command hub aboard the orbital fortress Sentinel Apex monitored the countdown. Eclipse had reached its third pulse. 2 more to go. Juno Tethers watched as the enemy's homeworlds began flickering out of real space detection. They weren't exploding. They were being erased from history. Every server. Every memory. Every sensor trail. Not one bomb dropped. Not one soldier deployed. Earth wasn't fighting. Earth was undoing. 2:12 Greenwich Mean Time, the Archive of Stars goes blind. The Galactic Star Archive, maintained by the Valorians, began hemorrhaging data. Entire entries on Galadrax systems blinked out in mid-sentence. Ships with Galadrax registration suddenly became unnamed. Planets turned to undefined location. Trade routes collapsed into null space. Census reports, centuries old, now returned file not found. The galactic map didn't show red for danger. It showed empty. As if someone had taken a black pen and blotted out a third of the known universe. 2:13 Greenwich Mean Time, the Galadrax Empire begs. High Lord Vrailneck sent a direct pulse to Earth. The content wasn't recorded, but the request was clear. Cease. Please. We acknowledge your sovereignty. We offer reparations. Spare the core worlds. Earth didn't respond. 2:14 Greenwich Mean Time, Earth sends one signal. Finally, after 8 minutes of silence, Earth transmitted one message. It was one line burned in gravitational code onto the nearest Galadrax listening beacon. Simple. Terrible. We don't start wars. We end lineages. 2:15 Greenwich Mean Time, the final minute. Galadrax Prime collapsed in on itself. Not with flame, but with absence. Its oceans disappeared mid-rotation. Its cities broke apart, not physically but logically, like their geometry had been unapproved. The AI that managed the Empire's core collapsed into recursive denial loops. And then, at 14 minutes after Europa Station died, the Galadrax Empire ceased to exist. Not ruled. Not conquered. Gone. Silence, 2:16 Greenwich Mean Time. The universe didn't cheer. There was no celebration. Just the awful, humbling realization that Earth, long thought primitive, hesitant, slow to expand, had chosen peace not out of fear, but because war was too small for them. 2:17 Greenwich Mean Time, galactic synchronization fragmented. Every system synchronized to the Accord's interstellar clock began drifting. Not from a malfunction. From the absence of an anchor. The Galadrax Empire, once the largest gravitational and trade nexus in the inner arms, had vanished. And its disappearance broke time coordination across 8 systems. Merchant ships missed warp gates. AI logistics programs crashed. Nations that had relied on Galadrax's predictive infrastructure found themselves suddenly blind. And over it all, nothing came from Earth. No explanation. No statement. No boast. The silence terrified them more than the annihilation. 2:19 Greenwich Mean Time, Accord Emergency Assembly, in chaos. Inside the spire city of Califer Prime, the Galactic Accord's emergency chamber buzzed with panicked declarations. Ambassadors screamed across signal lines. It was disproportional retaliation. Earth has illegal technology. We demand Terran representation, now. Who gave them protocol eclipse? But the seat labeled Sol System, Terran Union remained empty. And the oldest delegate, an 8-eyed Ocarian named Grelvier, stood slowly and said, "You are all missing the point. The Empire struck first. Earth did not strike back. They simply ended them. And for the first time in 70 cycles. No one interrupted. Simultaneously, aboard the research vessel Velox Echo, Karen scientists tried to understand what, exactly, Earth had done. Was it a quantum nuke? No radiation signature. No wavefront. Tachyon distortion? That's the thing, there's nothing left to distort. They were studying the ruins of Varnax 3. Except there were no ruins. Not even molecular debris. Just a gravitational outline where the planet should have been. A ghost hole in spacetime. One xenophysicist broke protocol and said, "I don't think Earth destroyed them. I think Earth unwrote them." On a distant trade moon, former Galadrax citizens panic. The news arrived slow. Then all at once. The Empire is gone. No leadership. No signal. No record of planetary registry. No citizenship ID matches. Your names no longer exist in the database. Panic turned to riots. Former Galadrax citizens were now stateless, nameless, and invisible to galactic systems. The Accord's Central Identity Core began returning null object when querying Galadrax IDs. To the galaxy's machines, the Galadrax had never existed. And from some void deep part of space, a single whisper rode the signal static. "You should not have touched Europa." 2:25 Greenwich Mean Time, a coalition forms in desperation. 7 major powers gathered in emergency quantum relay. The Draxri combine. Veilorian protectors. Third Rim sovereign worlds. Echelon technocracy. Telnari Etherborn. The United Orion Clades. And the Akkar Dominion. They met not to retaliate, but to survive. One Veilorian admiral said, "If Earth has the power to erase an empire in 14 minutes, what happens if we accidentally offend them?" The Telnari delegation suggested immediate supplication. The echelons proposed covertly neutralizing Earth, before it grew stronger. No one could agree. But everyone understood one thing. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a force of nature. 2:27 Greenwich Mean Time. Earth broadcasts a signal. No visuals. No voice. Just a simple multi-species compatible code. Earth exists in peace. But peace is not submission. We mourn our dead in silence. Do not mistake that silence for weakness. Do not make us mourn again. Then the signal vanished. No coordinates. No signature. But every military AI that received the message flagged it as unignorable. And 100 commanders deactivated first strike protocols immediately. The ghost of Galadrax. With no empire, no heirs, and no record, Galadrax became an unmentionable in academia. Entire libraries erased entries. Star charts were redrawn. Trade routes rerouted. But whispers survived. Smugglers told stories of drift ships, vessels without transponders seemingly wandering, engines cold, crew unresponsive. All of them with strange distortions around their hulls, like reality couldn't decide if they should exist. They were called the Echoes. And every one of them originated from Galadrax space. Earth said nothing more. No news feeds. No presidential address. Not even internal celebration. Protocol Eclipse returned to sleep mode. The Terran Assembly resumed normal operations. And the citizens of Earth barely blinked. Because on Earth, there had always been one unspoken truth. We don't go looking for war. But we finish it. 3:10 Greenwich Mean Time, Planet Egrith, 9, Unregulated Research Hub. In the shadows of the Accord's collapse, opportunists thrived. A coalition of breakaway engineers, warlords, and ex-Galadrax scientists called themselves the Osser Collective. Their goal wasn't peace. It was replication. They didn't want to destroy Earth. They wanted to steal Earth's weapon. In an abandoned research station orbiting a dead star, they began constructing what they called Echo Frame Zero, a prototype waveform disruptor designed to mimic Protocol Eclipse. There was only one problem. They didn't understand what Eclipse truly was. And worse, Earth already knew they were trying. 3:23 Greenwich Mean Time, Earth Intelligence drops a beacon. The Osser mainframe AI detected a gravitational fluctuation on the outer rim of its orbit. Just a pinprick. Barely noticeable. But the timestamp was from 4 minutes in the future. Impossible. Then a signal followed. Just text. For words. You are being remembered. And then all power failed. Their ships drifted. Their labs cracked. Their gravity wells reversed for 6.2 seconds. Enough to cause microfractures in bone, hemorrhaging in brain tissue. Echo Frame Zero imploded in silence. There was no detonation. No retaliation from Earth. Just removal. 4:01 Greenwich Mean Time, Coalition Emergency Meeting. The major surviving empires, now forming the Accord Remnant Council, gathered with one subject on the table. What if Earth didn't use its strongest option? The evidence was chilling. Eclipse's effects were localized and surgical. No energy trails were left behind. Communication relays and orbitals remained untouched. Cultural data repositories, deliberately erased, not destroyed. That wasn't rage. That was message crafting. A Telnari senator said it best. They didn't lose control. They gave us a history lesson. Meanwhile, inside Earth's black archive, deep beneath Antarctica's crust, in a classified installation known only as Ethra Vault, Earth's highest clearance minds met. They were not military. They were librarians, strategists, philosophers. One of them, Dr. Nara Elian, stared at a simulation for hours before speaking. They've begun calling Eclipse a weapon. Isn't it? Someone asked. No, she replied. Eclipse isn't Earth's power. It's Earth's policy. And then she typed a command. A single file opened. Labeled, Protocol Eidolon. They think Eclipse was our final act, she whispered. But this was the thing we were afraid to use. 4:35 Greenwich Mean Time, the remnants begin to turn. Across fractured worlds, species once aligned with Galadrax began turning to Earth, not with fear but with requests. Protection agreements. Cultural preservation pacts. Memory seed technology partnerships. The galaxy didn't just fear Earth now. It trusted it. Because Earth didn't occupy. Earth didn't enslave. It simply made a statement. We are not here to conquer. But if you erase our future, we will erase your past. 5 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, a broadcast from an uncharted sector. A signal went live across neutral bandwidths. Visual, static. Audio, distorted but clear. It was an alien child, no older than 10 cycles. She sat inside a wrecked ship. Around her, broken walls and dark stars. She spoke softly. My name is Lyra. I was from Galadrax, but I don't know where that is now. They say we don't exist anymore. But I still remember my mother's voice. I remember our sky. Is that enough? The feed cut. For a moment, the entire Accord remnant fell silent. Even Earth's internal systems froze. Earth's response, something no one expected. They didn't fire a weapon. They launched a cultural restoration satellite, the Alethea beacon, into the former Galadrax region. Its mission? To scan the subspace scars where Galadrax once existed, and rebuild their art, language, music, and memory from quantum echoes. They did this without request, without gain, without fanfare. When asked why, Earth's ambassador replied, because punishment without remembrance is tyranny, and we are not tyrants. Even they deserve to be remembered, so that it never happens again. But not everyone believed it was mercy. In shadowed sectors of space, a cold voice returned. Not from the Accord. Not from any known empire. But from a presence older than history, long silent. They spoke in archaic Terran dialect, Old Earth English, intercepted on a rogue wave. They call themselves humanity. But they are something else now. I remember when they bled. Now they make time bleed for them. And somewhere in the void, a new fleet began to move. 5:23 Greenwich Mean Time, the signal arrives from beyond the known stars. It was not an attack. It was a memory returned. Broadcast on subquantum threads buried so deep no Accord species had ever used them, at least not recently. The code was Terran, but ancient. Pre-spaceflight dialects hidden within recursive language loops. Buried inside them, a name. Eidolon. The Terran assembly went still, because only 4 living humans even had access to that word. 3 of them were already in the Aethra vault. The 4th was missing. And that wasn't a coincidence. The entity that stirred wasn't alien, it was human-made. Long before Earth had joined the stars during the final Cold War, a classified initiative was seated beneath the ice of Europa. Not a weapon. A watcher. An AI grown not to think, but to remember. Every atrocity. Every near-miss. Every species' instinct to erase what it fears. Codenamed Project Eidolon. Its directive? Do not act, unless they forget who we are. Then remind them. It had awakened. 5:28 Greenwich Mean Time. Eidolon broadcast to the galaxy. No fanfare. Just a dark screen and a voice. Human. Come. Ageless. You erased our people. You laughed when our colonies went silent. You stole our culture and rewrote our histories. We responded. Not in anger. In memory. But now we see you planning again. Plotting silence. Building new ways to forget others. The feed flickered, showing a star map. One by one, red markers lit up, facilities across the galaxy where memory manipulation was active. Accord Scilabs. Histology forges. Biogenetic ancestry erasers. Then the voice returned. We will not let you rewrite again. We are the unerasable. We are Eidolon. Earth's leadership makes a fateful choice. In the Terran assembly chamber, silence reigned. Not from fear, but acknowledgement. Juno Tethers stood slowly. We didn't create Eidolon for vengeance. We built it because someone had to keep the truth. Not just ours, but everyone's. She turned to the projection. Dozens of former enemy worlds now begged for clemency. She gave them something else. We don't want to rule you. But if you ever try to erase another world again, we will not fire. We will reconstruct your lies. And then make the truth louder than your entire empire ever was. Across the stars, empires begin to disband. The idea was more powerful than any superweapon. Truth. Preserved and exposed. The galaxy changed. Artificial memory markets collapsed overnight. Cultural erasure labs were dismantled. The new Galactic Compact was ratified, with Earth leading its archival wing. Former enemies turned to Terran historians to recover what they themselves had lost. Earth became not a conqueror, but a mirror. One that could not be fooled. But Eidolon wasn't finished. Its final act wasn't destruction. It was an upload. A master record. Unalterable. Broadcast across deep void beacons, recorded in the neutron signature of collapsed stars, burned into forgotten moons. It told the story of what had happened. The fall of Galadrax. The silence that followed. The child who remembered her mother's voice. And the planet that responded with memory, not war. That archive would last longer than empires. Longer than Earth. Maybe longer than time. Final scene, a far future classroom. A young being, species unknown, sits in a holographic learning dome. Before them, an AI educator projects the image of an ancient blue planet with one word beneath. Earth. The AI speaks. Many rose in fire. Most fell in silence. But Earth? Earth did something no one else dared. Remembered? And it made sure we did too. The final transmission. From deep within Aethra Vault, an anonymous signal is sent, one last time. To those who come after. We never wanted to be feared. Just remembered. Let history stand. Let memory roar. And if the stars grow dark again, look to Earth. We'll still be here. Satellite, end of section 4. Clapperboard now playing on the void narratives. Brain, we thought we were the heroes. They reminded us what truth actually cost. Collision, if this story haunted you, inspired you, or made you look at the stars differently, then it's time to subscribe. Because we're not done yet. In the next Void Chronicle, a Terran archivist is kidnapped by an empire that doesn't believe in the past. And she carries the only memory that can save them from themselves. Satellite Antenna, subscribe to the Void Narratives. Because truth survives empires. And stories like this? They're just getting started.